Right. Hello, everyone. Today's the 17th of March, 2023. If you're in the room, please do let me know you're here. And we're going to start a live event presented to you by Trade to Win Trade Guide, the live trading room event. Hi, Paul. Right. Also, the people on the YouTube area, please do let me know. Good morning, Casey. I hope you're okay. Right, we're gonna start. I think most people are here. I can see a lot of people here. Let's not waste time because it's a short time. We're gonna spend just for an hour or so. Hopefully, we're gonna have Gavin Holmes joining us as well. And as soon as he comes into the room, I will bring him in. Hi, John. Right. Excellent. Let's get on with it and just have a look. We were looking at the charts earlier on today in the live trading room. For those of you who are part of the live trading room, we did a lot of um, scalping today, and quite good opportunities were available on the US 500, which I took. And now I'm just want to analyze the Euro USD chart of what's going on in the Euro USD. If there is any chart out there that you want me to look at, please do let me know, and I analyze them for you if we have time. And we're just basically going to cover this event as similar to the live trading room on a daily basis, which we do 4 days a week. Now, on the Euro USD, you could see generally what's been happening. The potential professional selling did not get confirmed, and but neither did the test, and that's where the market dropped down. It gone a bit lower than the trigger area, which was created by the potential professional selling. The trigger area is these two dotted lines which automatically appear on the VSA light. And obviously, if you have this program, this will come in obviously as part of the program. And it basically, what it does, it creates a trigger lines upper and lower, which is works like almost like the support and resistance line. And what has been going on in the euro at the moment, after a good sign of strength, now we're starting to see a little bit of weakness starting to appear. They tried to push the market up, and never materialized. And as you can see, we're still below the trigger line where we had that potential professional selling appear. And what we're looking at right now is potentially weakness is starting to set in, but obviously we haven't got any confirmation of that yet. And but the only weakness that I could see on our volume thermometer, the buying bars are reducing, and we are in an area of weakness at the moment. And we had this bar here, which was no interest on the volume thermometer, but nevertheless, today bar seems to be um, almost like an up bar. Well, it is like an up bar, but it still hasn't finished, as you can appreciate. It's got another 5 hours and 55 minutes to go for this particular bar to finish. So as far as the daily chart concerns, really, I mean, I use this chart on a daily basis on multiple instruments. And what I try to do is basically analyze and see what's going on in our chart before I zoom in into the lower time frames. Now let's have a look at 4 hour chart. And you can see the weakness has started to appear. Is a change of behavior. There is a potential professional selling has appeared and was confirmed. Then there was a potential professional buying appeared, but obviously there is no entry for a long trade for obvious reasons. You had failed tests. And if you didn't have a failed test, this would have gone a bit further up, and you could have had a potential long trade to take. And that's the reason you do not enter the trade on a long. For one of the major reasons that these tests fell is for obvious reasons. The market has dropped. We've gone below the trigger line right now, and we are really in an area where I feel we still got the trend has changed to the downside, and we can see as it's trying to push up, they put a better volume in, and then it dropped down again. The volumes dropped. So to me, it's really not strength. This is weakness, and I'm really seeing the Euro USD not really pushing up too high anymore. I think we are in the distribution phase, and this will drop further down. Now, one of the things that you need to understand on the VSA is you need to make sure before you take any trades, you need to make sure where is your general trend going. You need to understand the trend alignment. The trend has to be multiple time frame, not only on one time frame, but multiple time frame to the time frame you're going to be trading. So it's very important to understand that. Now, obviously, that's what we do in this live trading room. And we created this event for those of you who are not part of it to be part of it for an hour or so, and see what do we do on a daily basis. So if you're really a serious trader and you really care about doing trades with your fellow traders, being part of that community that we have created, and quite a good large number now are part of the room, and it will be a good idea to join and get involved and and improve your trading methodology, because that's what we do on a daily basis, 4 days a week. Right. So now we are below the trigger line right now. The trend is down, and as I said, the last 8 hours, the first 4 hours, the bar was down, and now the next bar is almost is an up bar, but really there isn't much volume there. Obviously, as you can appreciate, it's got about another hour and 50 minutes to go for this particular bar to finish, but there's no volume there. The volume is decreasing, and really I'm expecting this euro to come down a bit further. So now the 1 hour chart, potential professional selling wasn't confirmed. It's tried to push up. They've done several tests, and there was an entry point on the hourly chart on the upside, and I will tell you exactly the long position that you could have taken on this hourly chart, but only for a few hours, not too long, purely because as you can see, as the bars as the actual chart is pushing up, you can see what's going on in your relative volume. The volumes are decreasing. Now, the volume thermometer is there for a reason. This is the volume means activity. So when the professionals are not putting too much volume, that means the professionals are not involved, they're not interested. And really, this bar here clearly states to me, this one here, this is like a spring, it's pushed up the market and then brought it down. Now, you might be saying, well, would I be able to take a trade there? The answer is yes. And you would probably, the next question you probably have in your head, well, where would I take it? Well, very simple. Now, when you got these trigger lines or the support and resistance lines. The potential professional selling, the PS, did not get confirmed. You can see the trend is generally going up. There is no change of behavior, still going up. Would I enter the trade there? I would say no. On the hindsight, you can say, yeah, well, it's gone up. Well, yes, but it's not really safe for you to do so. And as you can see, the market has come back down. They've done a test, but the test has appeared on a change of behavior. Notice the behavior. The behavior is very important. You need to notice that. So this test will give me an idea, well, okay, if it gets confirmed, I want to see a change of behavior again, which I've seen there. It's coming up. Then we got a test getting confirmed. Now you will say, well, shall I enter there? Potentially you could, because the market has come down but hasn't gone into the trigger area, and your stop loss should be just there anyway. So it never got into that area to stop you out. The market has pushed back up. Now, I personally wouldn't have entered there, and the reason being because I had a failed test and I had a bit of weakness behind me. This is an hourly chart, by the way, so it's important to understand. So I had a failed test, and this will tell me, well, I'm not really confident that this is going to go higher. Why? Because I don't have a potential professional buying. I've got a potential professional selling that hasn't been confirmed. If I had a potential professional buying there and was confirmed, I would probably, without hesitation, I would enter the trade. But because of that, I would wait. I'll wait for it because I want to see this failed test will make a reaction. It did. Then there was another test that failed, came down. Then there was a test that was confirmed. I still wouldn't enter there. I wait for the market to change behavior again. And it basically went up. Then there was a no demand. Then they've done a following test after the no demand. That's a good sign that this market, they want to push it up. They want to push the market up. We could call it a markup, and that's what they're trying to do. And then what happens? This test that appears in a very important area for me. This test happens in a very low volume, non-existent volume. Okay, very low volume. Test appears there. Very low volume. Look, notice the volume on your thermometer. There's none. Gets confirmed. I would have entered on this down bar. I've already got a good change of behavior. I've already got few tests. I'm above the trigger line, and this gives me confidence that this market will push up for a few hours. I would have entered on the down bar here, and as you can see, it's pushed up for 3 hours trade. By then, your stop loss should be into good profit. And if it comes back down on you, you made a successful trade there. Now, looking at this chart right now, what do I want to see? I want to see if this is going to continue pushing up. I want to see increase in volumes. I want to see this market pushing up above the trigger line again into this area. And I want to see more tests to appear, or potentially shakeouts, SO, shakeouts. Vitally important that you must have that behind you. But as I said, I don't really see the euro pushing up too high. You can see I noticed something else as it's trying to push up the market. I can see on my relative volume there is no interest. The volumes are getting smaller. There's no interest from the professionals that this market should go up. The other thing I noticed, every time there is a selling going on, the bars are increasing. So this tells me that there is a weakness there waiting to appear, and we're just waiting for that. It's just at the moment it's having a resistance, not going down yet, so no trade potentially possible here on the hourly chart yet. But is there an opportunity on a different time frame to take scalping trades? The answer is yes, definitely. Now let's have a look. 30 minutes chart. Potential professional selling has appeared. This one, potential professional buying, that's the highest volume, and that's why you can see the market has pushed up. Again, you would say, well, is there an entry point there when that potential professional buying appeared? Yes, you would have had trigger lines appearing there and there. Then you had tests, you had complete change of behavior. The test happened in the change of behavior anyway, and you've gone above the trigger line, and you could have entered on these one of these down bars, any of them, when they at one point they were a down bar and then turned out to be an up bar. You could have entered once you cleared your upper trigger line, and the reason we call it trigger lines is because it's a trigger for you to take a trade. Okay, so, and you can see this is pushing up, has pushed up. This would have been a good trade to take, but would I just take a trade by looking at my 30 minutes chart? The answer is no. I will look at multiple time frames to my 30 minutes chart to make a decision to take a trade on those two bars. Okay, and this is something that we do in the live trading room, and we talk about it, and we obviously not only talk about it, but I put it into practice with a live account. If you have any questions, please just put them in. If you want me to look at any charts, do put them in. Otherwise, I will continue with my analysis of this chart, and then I move on to another chart. Now, if you look at the 15 minutes chart, let's get rid of those. That was on 30 minutes chart. We've got a potential professional selling, did not get confirmed. Uptrust got confirmed. Now, to me, on a 15 minutes chart, there's a good potential setup for a short because of Uptrust and PS. Yes, the PS wasn't confirmed, but if I'm below the two trigger lines, I'm below that, and I've got change of behavior, I've got Uptrust and PS, this is a setup for a short trade. I can see the increasing volumes of the selling as it's going down, and I could also see as it was trying to push up, there was no interest in the professionals trying to withstand that. There's no interest. So potentially, that's what I'm saying. The market looks, there's a weakness in the background, and there's a weakness that's starting to appear in the Euro USD, and we're probably going to see that in the next few weeks. But right now we are in a weak area. We're below the trigger line. We've got weaknesses appeared. Yes, it's changing behavior, but really there's no interest, there's no volume there to suggest to me that this is going to turn out to be again bullish. So, but because I'm below the trigger line, I'll be looking for short trades. This change behavior on a 15 minutes chart, usually one dot is enough for me. one single diamond is enough for me to change behavior. This would have been my entry point, and as you know, when you're doing a short trade, you should be going on an up bar entrance. And as you can see, it's gone down. Maybe for 15 minutes would have been a trade. If you wanted to stay in longer, you could have. And that's 15, 30, 45, and almost an hour trade. And as you can see, it's dropped down further. Now, would I enter just by looking at my 15 minutes chart? Again, no. I will be looking at multiple time frames. Now, I don't have time today at this event to show you, okay? But in the room, in the live trading room, this can happen, and I can show you that because we are doing 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, and there's plenty of time to make explanation and discuss those things. Casey is asking, is confirmation always required on a test on entry? Of course. Casey, when you get a test, let me go back a bit and just explain this a bit further. Now let's go back to the 30 minutes chart quickly for cases. And look, Casey, there are very simple rules that you need to follow on a long trade with the VSA Lite, or if you're using any other softwares. Okay. Now, we're quite lucky to have on the VSA Lite the trigger lines appear automatically. So when you have a potential professional buying appears with a very decent volume, very high volume, and the market, then the next thing you need to wait for is a change of behavior. So we were into sort of almost like a gray and red area, and then eventually it changed behavior. Then you had a test. Now sometimes the test happens below the trigger line. You do not enter yet. Okay. But you wait for this trend to continue going up above the trigger line, and then you enter the trade because you've got a test and you've got a potential professional buying with a decent volume has appeared on your chart. But again, you need to look at multiple time frames and make sure that your positioning is correct and it matches to multiple time frames to the 30 minutes chart before you enter the trade. Now, my example is very simple. We got this area of interest where I want to enter the trade because I've gone and cleared the upper trigger line. So this is the area of interest for me. So what I will do on my 30 minutes chart, I will go and have a look at the 1 minute chart. Squeeze the chart a bit. And I have a look and see what's been going on. I've got test, got test, PB, PB. All right. Now I could go ahead and mark them. For now, I usually put also the times, but for this purpose, because the time is very short, this live event, I will not do that. 2 minutes chart. There you go. Test. I've got a shakeout. Very powerful. When shakeout and test happen, and you've got a good strength behind you, this will push up higher. Okay, and the shakeout, I'm not going to put it as a solid line. I'm going to put it as a dotted line, so we know it's a shakeout. 3 minutes chart. There's a test there. Solid line. 4 minutes chart. There's a test on a 4 minutes. Good. The trend is going up. So you observe the trend. You observe all your principles that have appeared. 6 minutes chart. Nothing there, but the trend is going generally up, which is good. 7 minutes chart. Nothing there. Trend going up. 8 minutes chart. 9 minutes, 10 minutes chart. Nothing there. Let's have a look at 12 minutes chart. Test. 13 minutes chart. In there. 14 minutes chart. There. Okay. 15 minutes chart. Fine. 20 minutes chart. 22 minutes chart. You see, I'm looking at many time frames to my 30 minutes chart. Why do I do that? I want to see what is going on, what is happening in my charts, what is the directions of my majority of my charts before I make a decision on entering a trade. 25 minutes chart, 26 minutes chart, no demand, but it doesn't matter. We're in an uptrend. I will explain that if you are part of the room. Now, 27 minutes chart, 28 minutes chart, and 29 minutes chart, and 30 minutes chart, which is our chart. Now, let's expand this. Look at that. Potential professional buying appeared there. These are the trigger lines that appear. We had a test on our own, but then I had a test there. I had another test. I had another test. I had another test. I had a shakeout and a test. Now, if I see that shakeout and a test happening, I will enter this trade. I'm above the trigger line. The trend is going up. I got multiple tests and shakeouts in multiple time frames. And this is the entry point for me. Down bar. It was a downward at one point, then it turned out to be an up bar because you enter the long trade on a down bar, and it's pushed up. It's come back down a little bit, then it's pushed up, pushed up. So this would have been a good trade for at least 2 hours, potentially if you wanted to stay longer. So you could have gone right up to where that PS appeared. Once you entered there, that's 30 minutes, 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 2 hour, 2.5 hour, 3 hour, 3.5 hour, 4 hour, 4.5 hour trade. And when you see the PS, you make sure you put your take profit below that line, onto that line, trigger line, because if it does come down, it stops you out and you made profit. If you want to close your trade when you see PS, you could do so as well. It's up to you. But I sometimes put it there. I make enough profit. I put it on the bottom trigger line purely because in case sometimes you get PS appearing and we got strength behind us and it doesn't come down. it will push up. So why would you want to stop out your trade if it's going to push up? You make the profit and put your stop loss there, and that's already into profit. So we started at that point. Okay, and we finish at that point. So this is a very healthy profit that you could have made onto your trade. 1.0638, 1.06308, and you will get stop out at 1.06579. Very healthy profit, and this is how you set up your trade on a higher time frames. Any questions so far? Did I explain that to you quite good, Casey? Do you understand now about the long setup? Okay, let me get rid of them now. And let's move on. I want to see if I can do a quick, short scalp. Thank you very much, Paul. I mean, I can't put it better than that, I guess. So now, what's going on? Let's have a look. PS on a 30 minutes has appeared. We have had a change of behavior. We are below the trigger line. Now you will say, well, can I go short? Yes. Can I go now? The answer is no. Why not? I'm below the trigger line. The behavior is changed. I've got a potential professional selling. Shouldn't I be just going, look, if I would have entered this trade here on a up bar, look, I've got a down bar. You're talking about the 30 minutes chart here. Yes, potentially you could do a lot of trades on a lower time frame, which I will show you. But if you're thinking long term, if you're a swing trader, there's no entry here yet. You need to wait for one or two principles. One is no demand, or one is uptrust, a UT. If I see a no demand appearing in the next half an hour to an hour, then yes, again, what would I do? I do the same thing. This is the area of interest. I look in multiple time frame. Let's start with 5 minutes. I'm going to do every 5 minutes. There's a no demand. Fantastic. This is going to go, this is what the reason I was saying it's going to go lower. There's no strength there. I can see in the bars. 5 minutes chart, I've got a no demand. Let's have a look. 10 minutes chart. Nothing there. There is a PS. We are below the trigger line. The trend hasn't changed yet. I want to wait for the change of trend. What was the 5 minutes? The trend hasn't changed yet, so I want to wait for the change of trend. What's going on in the background? Squeeze your chart. Have a look. What's going on? There was a weakness. They're trying to push it up, but look, there's no interest. Okay, there's a no demand, so I want this to come back down, to go below the trigger line, and I'll be looking for short trade, but it hasn't set up yet. 10 minutes chart, I'm below the trigger line. The behavior hasn't changed yet, but there's a PS. Fantastic. Okay, 20 minutes chart. Oh, come on. I mean, excuse me, uptrust, I mark it, and usually dotted line, and no demand. It's just outside my area of interest, but I'm going to put it. I wanna, I wanna see exactly what's going on. 22 minutes chart. PS, I'm below the trigger line. The behavior hasn't completely changed, changing back to gray, so I'll wait for it. So it's all about being patient when you're taking trades. Do not rush into trades. Be patient. It's vitally important. 24 minutes chart. What's going on? I'm below the trigger line. There is a sign of weakness there. It's changing behavior, but I'm fine. I'll wait. I wait to roll back down. Yes, I've got no demand. I've got uptrust. I've got no demand in the lower time frames. Great. That gives me confidence. 25 minutes chart. I'm below the trigger line. PS. Okay, wasn't confirmed. Again, what would I do? I'll wait. I will not enter this trade. 26 minutes chart. Below the trigger line. PS has appeared. But again, I have no demands near the time frame of my 30 minutes. So I'll be patient and wait. 27 minutes chart. Below the trigger line, PB, potential professional buying, hasn't been confirmed. Okay, fine. But where is the direction at the moment? It's going a little bit up. It's changing behavior. But look at the volume. Is there a lot of volume? Not much. 28 minutes chart. Again, potential professional buying hasn't been confirmed. There is a PS was confirmed, and we are obviously below that trigger line, both trigger lines at the moment. And the trend hasn't changed yet. Okay, great. But have I seen any no demand? Have I seen uptrust? No, only on the lower time frame. So I wait. 29 minutes chart. There is an uptrust on my 29 minutes, wasn't confirmed. Where am I? I'm above the trigger line. Okay? So I'm above the trigger line on a 29 minutes chart. So only on one chart, I'm above. On the majority of the chart, I'm below. So for me, again, short trade is the right trade for me, personally, especially the trend has changed. So I'm going to wait for it to roll over, roll down. 30 minutes chart, I'm below the trigger line, starting to see change of behavior. Fine, I'll be patient. I'll wait. What do I wait for? I wait for this. I wait this market to push up and then come back down. So I wait for the market to push up. I'm going to be observing this, looking at the volumes, see if the volumes are going lower and lower as it's trying to push up. I've got no demand, uptrust, no demand in several time frames, in the lower time frames, and I keep an eye now, because this is not strength, this is weakness. So I wait for it to change behavior, and I will keep observing this multiple time frame to see if I've got good trend changing to the downside, get more no demands, put them all in, and on my 30 minutes chart, once I get a no demand or an uptrust, this gives me confirmation this is going to go further down. So this was a short setup. The previous explanation was a long setup, but that is in a nutshell about the higher time frames of the swing traders that like to do stay in the trade for 2, 3, 4 hours. I personally, in the live trading room, like to do lower time frames purely because I want to get as many scalps as possible. Now, I want to be looking at the Euro USD 1 minute chart, and I want to see what's going on. This hits me in the face. This one. I'm below the trigger line anyway. Draw a line there, and I draw a line there at the bottom of it. Okay, and this would be, for me, an area where I want to have a look and see what the market would do. Now, the market can do two things. Well, it can do three things. One thing it can do, market can continue pushing up, going into this level. Then if it does that, and if there are no new principles have appeared, by the way, we had a PS appearing, there was no demand. This was an entry point on a 1 minute chart. As you can see, the trend is going generally down. So on a 1 minute chart, you could have had a potential trade since 9 o'clock this morning. And there was a potential professional selling. So now the market can go up there, push above that level if there are no new principles appearing. If there's a new principle appearing, there will be a new trigger line. That means you need to adjust yourself accordingly. But if the market goes down below this line, which is the high volume, that's why I draw the line at the bottom and the top, then the prices will go further down. So once it breaks that lower line, you get more no demands appearing, you get a change of behavior, and it goes through this line, the lower line. This will go lower and lower. Okay, so this almost works almost like for me as a support and resistance line. But the market can also do this. The market, as I said, the third thing that the market can do, keep into this area, keep down here, and then push up, then go down, then go up, then go down, then go up. So it can stay in this range. So this tells you something else. When the market does that, if you squeeze the chart, what's that telling you? The market has been pushing up, they've been marking it up, and now they come back into an area where there is a side moves, and then you wait for what? The breakdown of the market, which is going through that line. That will be a breakdown. You get a change of behavior, you get no demands, you get uptrust, or you get both together, and then you can enter the trade on a short side. Now, if the market did push up, I will not enter yet on the upside unless I have a new principle appearing. But until I have that principle appearing there, PS, and I've got the trigger lines, I still be cautious and wait for this to go above the upper trigger line. Now let's see if I can potentially do a quick scalp for a few minutes, see if I can do. Right now I can't do anything with this euro. It's a sideways move. It's a sideways action. It's a typical Friday afternoon on the Forex. Let's have a look at the US 500. Right, these are the trades I took in the live trading room today. And let me just explain. I bought there at that level, and then I bought again at that level. 2 trades simultaneously I took, and I got stopped at there, and I got stopped at there, got filled with profits. By the way, these are all winning trades. Okay, uh, I'm not showing you this because I want to show you the winning trades. It's just that today, for some reason, I didn't have a losing trade. I usually have losing trade in the live trading room, but today I didn't. So then again, what did I do? I sold there and I got filled there. Now you might be saying, well, what's going on? You are below the trigger line and you bought. But I did not trade the 1 minute chart. I traded the 5-second chart. I traded the 5-second chart. Okay, let me just show you. I bought there. The market came against me. I did not panic. I still was above the trigger line. It really, my stop loss was below the lower trigger line because this is a 5-second chart. I did not panic, and you see this sort of change of behavior all the time in the 5-second. It depends where you're at, and this is what I will show you and teach you to do as a super scalper, and not to panic when you take trades, and how to manage your trade as we go along. So as you can see, I bought there. It went against. Why did I buy there? You might say, well, I had a potential professional buying. I had test. The market was pushing up. You see that, the background? I looked at the background and I could see the market was what? Doing what? Was pushing up, was marking up. So I thought, yeah, great, let's go in. Bang, it changed behavior, it came down. I did not panic because I knew the general trend is up. They're going to push it up again because I have to test. Okay, and because failed uptrust, yes, there was a no demand, but then they did a test, so I did not panic. I waited. The market came down. At that point, I was like quite, in a quite negative position on my trade. But I believe in the system, and I believe in what I do, in a sense of following the trend. That's what trend is important to follow. Then it's change behavior, and I said, okay, guys and girls, I'm going to go and buy again. This time I bought a 40 units. There I bought 20. There I bought 40. And then I let the market push up, which it did. I've moved my stop loss up into a well profit, got filled there on my 40. Then I said to everyone, fine, I know this is going to push up further. Why? Because there was a failed no demand. There was a uptrend. There was a strength was behind me, and there is an uptrend in general chart. It pushed up higher, and this where I got filled again with profit. You see, this was my entry, and this was the exit. But not exit, I got filled. I don't exit a trade. All right, and this is what I show in the live trading room. I show you how to manage your trade. Then I entered there at 40, and I got filled. Oh, sorry. Then my trade here, you see, the last two trades I just talked about were buying trades. I was going long. Now, as soon as I saw the market start to drop and I saw a downtrend coming through, I had no demand. I got PS. The prices came below that PS. They did a test. We went below the test. I decided to go in short there on the downside. I was obviously when you go and enter the trade on a short, you go on an up bar or up pip. I entered there. It did go down a bit, and then it pushed up a bit. Then it was a PS, and because I knew I was in a downturn, the trend was going generally down. I had no demand. I knew this is going to go further down, and it did, and it got me filled there. I chased the trade, which I do, and I got filled, and I made profit. So on the same chart, on the same day, within an hour or less than an hour, within half an hour, I did two trades on the upside and one trade on the downside. And then here, I did another down and got filled there. Why did I enter there? Look, the trend is generally going down. And I saw test, failed test, and a shakeout. And I thought, well, great. If this is going to change behavior and push up, if it's going to do this, I don't want to be in this trade. But if it goes below this level, then I want to be in this trade. So if it goes below this level, I want to be in this trade. And that's what it did. It went below the shakeout and the test. The trend was generally down. We were below the trigger line. I entered, got filled there, chased the trade, made some more money. Any questions, anyone? Hello, Sid. I hope you're okay. Hello, Tammy. And hello, Mark. Great. Right, so there's a lot of people here. Sorry, I took a bit delay because I was explaining, and sorry about the delay reply to your hellos. But yeah, so generally, now what am I going to do? What's happening to your 1 second chart? Market is pushing up. Okay, so we are since, and you know, 1 second chart, 10 minutes is a long time on a 1 second chart. This is about super scalping. Okay, this is about super scalping, and therefore 1 second chart, 10 minutes is for me is a lot. It's a good trend to obviously enter on a 5 second chart, but you know, generally you want to go where the trend is. Now the question coming from Mark, do you trade BTC? No, I don't. I don't trade BTC, Mark. I don't trade. Is it crypto? Isn't it? I don't trade crypto, but I do trade the US 500, all the major forex. I trade the gold, silver, and some of the stocks, some of the major stocks sometimes. But really, in the live trading room, I do mainly forex and the US 500, the US 100, gold, silver, Brent oil, crude oil. So anything that has got movement. the Bitcoin, crypto, I don't. BTC, the cryptos, I don't trade generally. Um, you know, but really, it doesn't really matter what instrument you like to trade. If you understand the principles, you follow the principles, you'll always be successful. Now I've got Gavin here as well. Good afternoon, Gavin.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hello, Aaron. How are you today, mate?
How are you? I'm very good. The sun is coming out, and really, really excited. Did fantastic in the room today on the trading aspect, so quite happy.
Yeah, me too. I did a YouTube video earlier on my trade in the pound Swiss. I've still got it running. I've got 3 trades running at the moment, both in the Wyckoff Williams investment division and also personal account. So I've got Forex and futures running. We've had one of our best weeks ever, actually, because we had Conrad, who I think you know. He flew over from Bahrain. He's our representative, one of our representatives in the Middle East. And he's also a shareholder in Trade Guide of Gibraltar Limited. And he spent 2 days with us here, trading and looking at charts and just having a great time. And he's originally from South Africa. I didn't realise, I don't know if you knew this, Aaron, but he was a fireman in Soweto.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did know that, actually. Yeah. He did say it once. Yeah.
I said to him, "How do you deal with the stress of trading?" And he said, "Well, I was a fireman in Soweto, so it's not the problem."
I'm sure.
Then he told me some stories that I will not repeat on air, but they're great. I mean, I'm an ex-policeman. I've seen most things, and he has too. So nice guy. So as I say, let me tell you the trades I've got running. I'll talk to you or through them in a minute. I've done a YouTube video. Can you just ask the audience, because I can't see the question? Did everyone see the YouTube video I did this morning on the pound Swiss franc? And obviously that was the main one, but also the pound USD is moving as well. Did everyone see? There's a Tom Williams favorite setup happened a few days ago, and it's still running. It's still going up. So some of you, I've had 2 emails from people who took the trade earlier. It's based on a spring position which happened about 7 hours ago. Can you just ask the audience? Did everybody see that YouTube video that was sent out?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone has seen the YouTube video that was out, please do let me know, and I'll let Gavin know as well. Gavin, you can share your screen and show your thing. PJ say he has. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But no, I just want to make sure people got it, because it was, the trade's going to run till next week anyway, so it's not a big. It's not. I was using the trade alerts, and I took a trade about 2 hours ago based on an alert, and I'm gonna be able to show that. I think. Let me just check. Yeah. So it's gonna be a trade for next week, but so at the moment, I'm going to explain that pound Swissy trade to you all. Let me just share the screen. So bear with me.
Right, they all received it, Gavin, but
yeah, okay,
but some of them haven't managed to watch it yet. But
all right, well, they don't need to now, because it's here. All right, so you should be able to see my MT5 platform. I'm going to put Smart Center Pro on, because that's what I was using to trade this. And these are the instruments that have currently been alerted to, that I've been scanning all week. Okay, so you can see here I'm using MT5 with Capital Markets. What you're going to see here is the setup. This is Tom Williams's favorite setup to buy the market, which is why I've got my stop through here. I'm just about to move it below the spring bar, so we can watch that now, and it's right below the spring now. Okay, and I'm going to close this position tonight. I'm not going to leave it over the weekend, and the reason I don't, most people don't know that banks trade amongst themselves over the weekend in foreign exchange, so you get gaps on a Sunday night. You don't know why. Well, that's the reason why. The gap doesn't just appear because they say Forex is closed. Of course, it's not closed. So the bottom line is, on Friday nights, any futures positions that I'm holding in currencies, I close. And any Forex positions that I've got, like these, will be closed. So I'm trying to double the account size, which started at, I think you all know, £2,500. This is UK pounds. So I've achieved that this week already. So it's already there. I could close everything now, but I'm not going to, because I'm going into the London fix in 1 minute. But I'm getting ready now to move this up and try to take the profits, because at the London fix, it could reverse. But in all my positions, all the stops are profitable, and I don't have a target. Okay, I don't. Although the the trade alerts give. There's one just come in now, so let's go straight to it. Okay, you just heard that. Okay, I'm just going to go straight to Forex Factory. Just show you very quickly why the market's moving. It's based on this. Okay, so at 10 a.m., which is now 2 p.m. UK time. Okay, the news came out, and it was worse than expected, which means the dollar there was going to weaken. And what they were expecting was 66.9 on the prelim consumer sentiment, which is done in the University of Michigan, for those of you that don't know. And it comes out and it does affect market movement. And you can see here, there's a nice little graph below here, which shows exactly what it's done in the past. And obviously this month, you can see here, we can go all the way to March. The news has come out. It's affected the dollar. It's affected gold. So it's worth always looking at news, not to follow it, but to do the opposite often, because I think what we'll see next week is more strengthening of the dollar. But for the moment, we've got this very interesting chart. But the most important thing is we've got to look at the alerts. Now, I've got alerts, and the new alerts for cryptocurrencies, which I've been trading. But let's focus today on Forex and futures. We do have stock alerts here. I'm not going to focus on that today. We don't have time. But the Forex alerts, the one I took earlier, and in fact, the trades that I took, actually, I think I was incorrect on the time on the YouTube video. It was actually late at night on the 15th of March. But nevertheless, it's the same setup. I'm going to explain it to you. But these alerts come in. GBP AUD came in here. Okay, along. Okay. It's not in profit yet, okay, but it was earlier up at nearly 100, and it's fluctuating. So I'm just keeping an eye on that. But the one that I want to show you on the alert service, some of you don't even know we have this, but this is based off our main server, and it scans thousands of charts. In fact, in stocks, I think it's 53,000 different stocks in multiple jurisdictions, including Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, China, India, all of Europe, all US, it's all there. But today, for the purpose of this lesson, if you want to call it that, I've just finished the winter trading course, which I have to say, from all the feedback we've had, probably the most comprehensive course we've ever done, and the best place to start if you're wanting to learn Wyckoff volume spread analysis as a methodology. But if we go down, we can see we have lots of alerts coming in, okay? And a lot of them are coming on very small time frames, okay? 3 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute. And this is the type of time frames that Aaron will be looking to trade in the trading room, which he does. And I've also got another system that I'm using in Smart Center Pro, which is the professional version, which is what I'm using in MT5, which looks at much bigger time frames. So what I want to do, because I want to get back to Aaron quickly here, is I want to explain the setup, which is in the YouTube video, and why the market's rallying. So I'm going to talk about 3 things, and then I'm going to hand back to Aaron. The first thing is ultra high volume on down moves. Now, at the bottom of the chart, you're going to see 2 green indications. But let me ask the audience. See if you can read this out to me, Aaron, because I can't see the questions. Why would we not, this is over an 8-hour period. Why would we not buy at that point when this bar had closed? Why would we not buy the market at that point? Can anyone tell me? See what the audience says. So the question is, why, as a group of individuals trading VSA, would we not buy on those 2 bars? See what they say. I know anyone in the winter trading educational course will know the answer to it anyway, but I'll just see, because there's a lot of new people here, I'm assuming, Aaron.
Yes, there's loads of people here, including my room as well as loads of people on the YouTube area. But let's see some answers coming through now. It's still in a downtrend, Paul is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Wait for a change of behavior. Ian saying, EJ also the same. And everyone said not change your behavior, still in a downtrend. So it's more or less the same answer.
Yeah, of course. And I want to pay great tribute to the late David Weiss, who was a great friend and a great trader who I traded with many times, who taught me that terminology. I didn't use that terminology, nor did Tom. So he would sit with me and he'd say, right, Gavin, would you buy there? And I'd say, well, yeah, look, that's a 2-bar reversal. It's a climactic action. And no. The market hasn't changed behavior. So I looked at him, I said, what do you mean, change behavior? He said, it's still trending down. I said, no, it's gone up for 4 hours. He said, what time frame you want to look at? I said, well, this is a 4 hour. He said, well, go to the hourly and you'll probably see some sort of shakeout. And then you're going to see the change of behavior happening earlier. But the change in behavior is basically, as he said, he used the analogy. He said, imagine you're having a row with your wife or your husband, and it's really angry, and so it's going down. Everything's going down, and suddenly you figure it out. You go, actually, I'm going to stop rowing. We actually love each other, so we're going to change behavior. We're going to be happy and cuddle each other. The market's like that. It's traded by human beings. It's emotional, so it changes behavior. Here, that for me was on a 4 hour chart. If I see that after that, that is golden, because everything in Smart Center Pro. Well, it sent me an email. As soon as this bar here triggered, it sent me an email. But then, and this is the great lesson, you go to the 1 hour chart. And you can see where my stop is at the moment. It's in a specific place. But the market changed behavior because of this bar here. This is called a shakeout. Now, a shakeout is and this is why I use multiple time frames. And how I do this is I use Smart Center Pro. So I'm using this is what we use for the Wyckoff Williams investment division in Gibraltar. So it's called Wyckoff Williams Investments Limited, Gibraltar. So what are we doing here? So I'm trading, because we've got now probably around 12 traders that are going to be actively trading throughout April. We're looking for trend alignment. We're looking for climactic volume, which I'm not going to have to show you that 4 hour chart because it's in the YouTube video. So if you go to www.youtube.com/trade guider, Tango Romeo Alpha Delta Echo Golf Uniform India Delta Echo Romeo Trade Guider, you will find it. youtube.com Trade Guider. Click on the videos tab, and I'm going to upload another video. So if you follow us on that, I'm going to do another one on Monday morning for the setup for that day, and it'll be public. I'm not going to make that one private. And what we need to do is we need to understand what we're looking for. So in here, we've got the scanners. Now, I'm just at the moment on the Forex charts, and that's what Aaron tends to trade mainly, although I trade futures, cryptos, stocks, both personally and in Wyckoff Williams. I also trade oil, which I've got here, which is actually falling. So we're looking to short energy stocks, right, which most people weren't doing, which we've done, because everyone said oil's going up, gas is going up, cost of living, all of this. Ignore everything you hear on the media, because you'll never be told the truth. Okay, the great statement I've used in my book, okay, was from the great Mark Twain, and he said, if you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. But if you do read the newspaper, you're misinformed. It works in everything in life. You and your brain has the ability to understand that all is not what it seems, which is true of life, isn't it? So you're never really told the truth, but it doesn't matter. Because as Tom taught me, he said, well, everything, if you're a trader, is on the chart, and the chart can't lie. If you understand Wyckoff and volume spread analysis, the chart won't lie. So as Tom was teaching me, he said, Gavin, my greatest wish would be to get a team of traders for 4 weeks in a darkened room with no access to TVs, the media, brokers. All they had was the chart and a trading dome. And that's it. and then a strategy that we give them or they've developed based on the VSA method that allows them to make educated decisions based on the data on the chart and not what they think. Because he said the danger of traders that are losing money is they think too much. Well, think about it. Of course, human beings are born to think. We're born with a brain, but there is something called analysis paralysis. And in my recent mentorship programs that I've done, I do find many of the traders that I teach start off showing me all of the different things they've learned. And I said, look, just show me a statement of your account for last year. That's all I need to see. Oh, no, I can't show you that. No. I said, right, that's the reason you're talking to me. You didn't make any money, did you? And it all goes quiet, usually. Or a couple of guys said, yeah, I made 150, 200 grand, whatever, but I want to make more. And I think your system could probably add to what I do. So I've learned a great deal from other traders that have shown me things that I didn't know, because you never know anything or everything rather in life. You're always learning. So when we look down here, you've got the same setup, but in a different time frame. Now, what you're going to see here in the scanner is we've got the time frames that I use to scan all of my futures Forex charts, which is the weekly, the daily, the hourly, okay, the 30. And when I left click here, you're going to see something very interesting. So I'm long on the British pound. Why would that be? Okay. Now, what I am going to do, I'm actually going to close that one because I already know it's about to come down after the fix. And actually, I will also close that because I'm going to let the other one run. So those two are done. But let me show you why. Look at these boxes. Now, they represent time. Okay. If you've ever read Stephen Hawking's book, A Brief History of Time, you'll understand that everything's moving. Okay. When the markets are open, they are moving. Now, what I can see that the GBP USD for the last few weeks, apart from going into congestion before the budget a few weeks ago, it's been going up, not down. So I want to swim with the tide, hence I was long. The daily chart, here, is long. The 4-hour chart was long for a long time when I took my trade, and then it's gone into congestion. Friday night, no surprise. Grey, red, grey. That's why I'm just closing out. There's no reason to stay in that anymore. I've made my money. I've done what I've said I would do. And I know that I've still got another 2 weeks of the month to achieve my goal. But the hourly chart is very interesting. Hence the reason for being in the trade. You've got what we call no supply. Now, what does that mean? Well, the markets, as I said in my video on YouTube, move on 3 universal laws. Supply and demand, cause and effect, and effort versus result. Those are the 3 guaranteed. Well, it's a bit like the law of gravity or electricity. You try and explain that to someone and say, well, tell me what gravity is. They go, oh, well, I don't know. I said, well, the fact that you're walking around this planet and not flying off into the moon is because of gravity. But, you know, there's plenty of people who've tried to explain it to people, to the layman's, but it's the same. The greatest law of trading is supply and demand. It has to be. It drives everything. So what do we do differently to every other company out there? Really, there's not many that do what we do. We don't use mathematical formulas in our indicators. They're not mathematical. They're based on rules, rule sets. And they're charting supply and demand, cause and effect, effort versus result. Is that enough to make you successful in the markets? No, it's not. Which is why in my book, in chapter 9, if you go and read it, you'll understand what I know. You've got to believe. You have to have trust in what you're doing. When I was training as a police officer, the one thing I knew that when I went out in the streets, I was trained. If someone was going to come at me with a knife, I had a taser. I knew what to do. I had a truncheon. I had whatever I need. I mean, it wasn't a taser, it was a truncheon at the time, but it's now gone to tasers. But you're trained. Trading is exactly that. If you're trained correctly with the right tools, with the right instruments to trade and your mentality is understood. So every one of you in this room is different. Okay. You cannot, this is the difficult part about trading. I can show a Forex chart and someone will be saying, well, I trade stocks. I can show a stock chart and, well, I trade Forex. I can show a Forex chart, well, I trade crypto. All different. But here's the beauty of what we show. It works in everything where there's any type of activity because it's based on supply and demand. It's not a curve-fitted system to one instrument. It can't be. This is the beauty of volume spread analysis. So what we see is in Smart Center Pro here, there's quite a few instruments that are setting up. Well, in fact, if I look at the UK oil or the US oil, they're both the same. Look. Okay, so why are we short? Because of this. All right, no demand in a downtrend. This sent me an email 3 weeks ago. I went to fill up my Mercedes yesterday. What cost me £110 still, whatever it was, £90, I forget to fill it a few weeks ago, cost me £71. Price of petrol is coming down. Price of diesel is coming down. My wife's car's a diesel. She's got a Nissan coming down. But of course, you're not told that. It's, oh, energy crisis, it's all going up, it's all terrible. It's not. It's simply not. The chart is telling me that that's a great short. Now, if we start to look at gold and some of the other instruments, okay, now, I just got an email from one of my colleagues earlier about gold. Now, the thing is, I said gold's bullish. This was early this morning, about 7 o'clock. And he said, yeah, I'm thinking of buying and going long. I said, you're absolutely right. And I said, you want to look at the hourly chart, but I said, look at the scanner in Smart Center Pro and wait. And what do we have? I call this the garden is green, which means long, or blood red means I go short. Well, it's long. Has to be. But what do we have here that gives us the clue? Well, the 5-minute chart before the London fix says everything. Strength coming in. Strength coming in. A test of the strength. Strength coming in. Market rally. Closing out. Gold is bullish. It's not, I'm a bear on gold most of the time, but because of what's going on and the news, this here is, well, it's what you look for on a weekly chart. If you see a test and no supply, the market's going to go up. And you can say, well, we've done that in hindsight. No, I showed this weeks ago in the webinar in January. Everything here, even the 1-minute chart, look, up, 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 everything's in alignment. If you ever see this in Smart Center Pro, the probability of making a good trade to the long side is exceptionally high. Because if you were well, I live by the sea. I live in the New Forest. And I live right by some beaches. And there's a big river called the Beaulieu River, which flows out to sea. And I was watching, I think it was a few days ago, but there was a guy launching a canoe. And it was the tide was going out towards the sea. And he put the canoe in and literally had to grab it because it was rushing out with the tide. And he jumped in, didn't do anything, didn't even have the paddle. And out he went to the sea. But he tried to paddle back up the river and I could see him fighting. And I thought, that's like a chart. That's exactly like a chart. You go with the flow. He's trying to fight the flow because he was trying to get back up a bit the river. He couldn't. And he turned around and went out. Price action is exactly like that. This is the flow of the river to the upside. Okay. We at Trade Guider and in Aram's room, we teach you to go with the flow. Now, Aram won't be looking at 4-hour charts necessarily. Maybe he does if you ask him to. He looks at some much smaller time frames. Now, how can this work in small time frames? Right? Well, surely it can't. All right, but it does. That's the strange thing. It absolutely does. And so if I go to the 1-minute chart here, all right, you can see a 1-minute chart Here's your bottom, and you'll see the indicators coming in. And then we change behavior. Look, everything's green. So I'm sure Aram's taken trades here, but I want to finish off, if I may. And I've just had an alert in on the switch. I'm not going to trade that, but I've had quite a lot of alerts coming in while we've been on air. But I want to show you something. Well, something that I think you need to watch if you're a stock trader. Now, I'm going to use what Aram's using here, which is in fact the TradingView product that we have called Trade to Win, which only has 6 supply and demand indicators in it. Okay, there's only 6. It's our entry level product, so obviously it's less expensive than Smart Center Pro because it's limited in what it does compared to Smart Center Pro, but it still works and it's good. And I use both together. In fact, in my trading screens here, I've got this in the background. But I want to show you First Republic Bank, which is a US bank, which has been bailed out by Goldman, JP Morgan, some of the big banks, okay, and the government. So the news is bad and it's getting worse. That's always good for me. So here I can see on the 4-hour chart, it's fallen with a first attempt to support. The next volume comes in here. It rallies, but then it's sold back into because there's panic sellers there. Then here we get the highest volume on that time frame, and then suddenly we get what's called a spring. Now, where are we going to buy this if we choose to buy it? Well, number one, it hasn't changed behavior. So there's no buy at all. There's no sell either. I wouldn't sell it. Number two, we've got to fill this gap where the PB, the first one is. Okay. But the best place to look for a buy is going to be in the middle, right there, around 70. Now, some people say, well, I don't want to wait that long. That could take months. And it could. It could. This reminds me of a UK stock called Quindel, very close to my heart, because one of our biggest investors was into this stock years ago. And I said, when I saw what happened, it looked exactly like this chart. And it fell and it fell and it fell. And then they fired the chairman and then it doubled in value and did what BP did, which I'll end on. I'll show you this. So you've got the buying. Now, what happens? We need to see a test in this area. Okay. Now, this is a 4-hour chart. But if you go to the daily, that's the one you probably want to look at if you're a stock trader. Okay. There's the buying. And if that was all selling, we wouldn't close in the middle. It wouldn't happen with the next bar closing high. It just couldn't happen, could it? This is demand overcoming supply at that point, but there's still a lot of sellers panicking there. That's why you got high volume. But who or what groups are absorbing this is the question you need to ask yourself. Because clearly, if it's absorption and they're buying here and they say, actually, now this bank is a good investment for the future. Two things have to happen on the daily chart. Number one, we have to take out this bar here. Okay, has to go out that top around 53. Secondly, it needs to come back and test that area on low volume. It has to be low volume. You can't have high volume. It's got to be low volume, narrow range, starting to make its progress back to the upside. This can take months, but that's how our strategy is for Wyckoff Williams Investments Gibraltar Limited. It's very simple. We trade multiple instruments in multiple time frames. So we do futures, we do Forex, we do cryptos, we do stocks. And we're now, as of Tuesday, we're going to do the options trades with my new, I've got 2 of my mentorship students that are coming in and joining the company. And that's because we know, and one of them's an expert he lives in Bahrain, Conrad, and he just came over to visit me at my new cottage in the forest, and we spent time together. Brilliant. He's got some great strategies, and I'm sure there'll be a webinar for all of our investment group in our investment club next week. So look out. So what we know, and very importantly, let me finish off with this. If you go to www.volumespreadanalysis.com, okay, which is one of our sites, we own several, but there's a very interesting story here, and this is the interview with Tom, and I'll play it for you and hopefully you can hear it, but then I'm going to show you what he said and what actually happened on a chart. Okay, so let's have a listen and tell me if you can hear this.
Gavin, the sound is not very good.
You can't hear it?
No, we can't hear it. No.
Sorry, can you hear? You can't hear it. No, I didn't think you could, because I know you can in GoToWebinar you can, but I don't think you can do it on YouTube. So anyway, you can go to volumespreadanalysis.com. But what Tom talks about in that 5-minute clip is very simple. He talks about the news, and you buy when the VSA system says, here is a shakeout, here is bag holding, but the news will be terrible, bad, which we've seen in that bank. Now, I'll leave you with a final story. This actually happened, and I was in Boston at the time. I was presenting at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, to the Boston Traders Group in 2010. And I remember it well because the night before, Tom had rung me. And it was night in England. It would have been lunchtime in Boston. So just after that. And I remember because I was sitting there eating a lovely Boston lobster, best lobster in the world. Loved it. And I'm sitting there with the phone man. Oh, Tom. He said, Gav, have you looked at the chart of British Petroleum? This was when they'd said the day before, we cannot cap the well. Can't cap the well. All right. I said, no, I haven't looked at that. He said, Gav, can we buy 5,000 shares and then double it next week? And I said, because we had a joint account. I said, I'm sorry, Tom. Have you not seen the news? They can't cap the well. I mean, Colonel Gaddafi apparently is going to buy BP. You know, Gav, can you just place the order? Ring so and so and so and so the broker now. And of course, well, they're shut. I mean, it's lunchtime here, so I have to do it in the morning. He said, can you get up early? Well, I did this because I could see what he was saying. On a daily chart, we had a widespread gap down. The news was horrible. President Obama had come out and said, you can't pay any dividends this year, BP, because you've got to pay for the cleanup. And shares in Halliburton, which was an oil spill cleaning company, had risen dramatically. So I'm thinking, hold on a second, he might have a point there. So anyway, the volume came in, and I thought, flipping out. This was the February chart at the time had come in, and I looked at it and I went, they said they can't cap the well. Well, look at the volume on down here, right? When that came in. And then 2 green indicators that you've just seen on another chart, they were the same ones. You had a shakeout and a reversal, and then on the monthly, you had a test. But on the weekly and the daily and the 8-hour and the 4-hour and the 1-hour, they all said the same thing. The accumulation on this terrible news, and we know how much, by the way, we know now in 2023 how much BP made in the last year, extortionate amounts of money, right? But look at the old lows. The markets have a personality of their own. And if you can read them and you can understand them and you can get rid of your emotion, which I can assure you as an ex-policeman, I had to in many occasions, and then you just trade what you see, almost like a robot, but not a robot, because you're not a robot, right? I've had people say to me, well, do you trade like a robot? No, I don't. Of course I don't. You can tell I'm passionate about what I do, but I don't trade like a robot. I trade what I see, like Aaron does, and I trade against what the herd are doing. Because invariably, if I do a seminar and say, are you all going to buy this? And they say, yeah, I know there's a short opportunity coming. And I said, what are you going to do? You're going to sell this? Yeah, I know I'm going to buy it. So you must be contrarian. Okay. You must think outside the box if you want to be good at this business. And I've been doing it now 23 years, I think it is. And in my 3rd book, I'm going to discuss the most important part of how I got to this journey, which is very much about believing that what you've been taught is real, and it'll help you, because the only way you'll ever know is by looking at your bank account, your lifestyle, your happiness, your welfare, your health, All of those things are indicative of how you go to sleep at night and wake up in the morning. And when I did that YouTube video this morning, I knew some people were going to take the trades. And I've had some emails. I'm going to get back to you. I can't get back to you all because there's quite a lot come in. But ultimately, the chart doesn't lie. Believe in your charts. Believe in the Wyckoff VSA method. Follow what Aram's doing in his room. He's very repetitive, and I don't think he'll make any apology about that at all, as I won't. Because what we teach has been around for over 100 years. And sitting next to me here on the table is the Wyckoff Wall Street, the Magazine of Wall Street from 1908, this one is. And it discusses exactly what I'm showing you here. And it hasn't changed. The reason the markets haven't changed is they are moved. In Wyckoff's day, it was called the ticker tape. In our day, it's called the trading ladder, the DOM, the chart, whatever you want to call it. But it's based on those three universal laws: supply and demand, cause and effect, effort versus result. Follow those and you'll make it in the markets. Back over to you, Aram.
Thank you very much, Gavin. Thank you very much, everyone, for we're going to close this session now, this live event. Today is 17th of March 2023. If you're interested in joining the trading room, the live trading room, and you need to go to trade2win.com website, and there's all information there. There's a chat area as well where you could ask any questions you might have before deciding to subscribe. But I hope you do. So hopefully I see more people joining the community which we have created and is building up in numbers now, and also for people who are in my room and they're here today, thank you very much. And I see all of those people in my room again on Tuesday on the 21st of March. Thank you very much, everyone, for this live event. Thank you very much, Gavin. Everyone, have a lovely rest of the day. Have a lovely weekend. And until next time, next event, bye for now.